Welcome back to Clocks on the Stove with your host, Grayson Fisher. Big Meats cannot join us today, sadly. But so with the Olympics going on, I was like, let's get some high-level wrestlers to talk about some Olympic wrestling going on before it starts. So with us today, we got Chris Foca, Julian Ramirez, Foca, New Jersey State champ, Fargo champ, which is high school freestyle nationals, five-time U.S. national team member, also ranked number 8th in the U.S. men Olympic rankings for 86 kilograms, New Jersey native. Julian Ramirez, Florida native from Miami, transitioned his way to Tampa, went up to New Jersey to wrestle out of Blair Academy. Now, two-time Florida State champ, two-time national prep champ, four-time U.S. national team member. Both of them currently on the Cornell wrestling team now. Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
Not too bad, not too bad.
Doing all right. Not too bad myself.
What's the weather like up there right now in Ithaca?
It's actually pretty nice out today. It's like the sun's blazing, but there's a nice chill of wind, so it's a great day.
Yeah,
Like it's 75 and sunny. Pretty nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna let my dogs out real quick to being a pain in the behind.
All right, go ahead. Oh, do you want to go to the Gorgeous today?
I have to pack my entire house. I'm busy the entire day.
Sorry for that. So
I'm up now.
when does it usually start to get like uncomfortably cold in Ithaca? When is it like I know Foca, I know you both have lived in Jersey, but I feel like Ithaca is just a different breed of cold than Jersey is.
For sure.
Well, I mean, Grayson, if you come up here, you'd probably freeze now, but I'd say maybe Halloween time.
No. It'd be bad for Grayson probably
Dude, if it gets below 70, it's bad.
late September. Nah, but it's different cold. It's not as cold as Florida.
Well, yeah, our humidity makes it colder.
I'm pretty sure that's true.
Yeah. So let's talk about let's get into this wrestling. So for everyone that doesn't know, you guys actually just lost your head coach this season.
Mhm.
He was there for as long as I could remember him being there. So a little backstory before we tap into this with some details. Stanford Wrestling, their Stanford athletic department cut 11 programs because of COVID this past year, with wrestling being one of them. With if I mess up anything, guys, please help me out. But they had a top 25 ranked team with a bunch of young guns, and they actually had some good prospects in high school that were committed there. Cut the program. Their boosters and fundraisers raised it up so they had enough money for 50 seasons or something insane like that.
I think it was I don't know how many seasons, but
They raised enough money to have a season, but
it was
regardless.
$40 million.
Yeah, like millions of dollars. The university still said no. And these kids were like, you know what? We love this school. We love the people. We're already committed. Like, we want to win NCAAs. Let's do this. So they just flipped their singlets inside out and wrestled the season as unattached, right? And then Shane Griffith ended up winning a national championship, winning NCAAs for Stanford. And then that obviously caused Stanford to be like, all right, we're going to reopen our wrestling program. And their number one option was y'all's head coach. So what's that like for you guys right now, the transition, with starting up this season, where I would say we're getting close to preseason, right? What's it been like different, the same? What's the vibe been like for you guys, with, the guy that kind of brought you into the program no longer being there, and now there's a new person in charge?
So one thing was that this was Stanford's last season that was confirmed while the sports were getting canceled. So this was their last confirmed season. This was their last straw. And Shane Griffith went out, and he actually, I think, single-handedly brought back 11 sports in winning a national title.
100%.
By doing that, I think that was pretty sick.
Yeah, it was pretty dope, yeah.
But to answer your question though, I would say Cole was great for the program, and he did a lot for this program. He was here for 25 to 28 years.
For as long as I can remember Cornell wrestling,
Yeah.
I remember him being there.
I mean, he's been here for forever. But a lot of the school's support goes further than Coach Cole. I mean, the alumni, they're all grateful to Coach Cole, but in the end of the day, they still love Cornell wrestling. And when all you need for a good, successful program is a good athletic director and a good alumni base that will support you guys. And having Coach Gray move up from assistant coach to head coach, I think it was a phenomenal position for him. I think it was great for the team. I think he brought in 3 of the best coaches in the country virtually. I mean, I could say that Donnie and Kellen are phenomenal coaches. And From what I know, I mean, everyone knows Gwiz is one of the best wrestlers, but from what I've seen, he's also a great coach so far. So I really like all three of them on a personal level as well, and I think it's going to be very cool because Coach Cole liked to raise a lot of money and hold on to it. So we had a lot of money, but we have a lot of money. So Coach Gray is going to use some of that money for good.
Yeah. Coach Cole has been there upwards of 3 decades now, and like Julian was saying, but he definitely set an incredible foundation for our program and for Gray to step up and to inherit such guns right now. We have all the tools to, I believe, win a national title. So
that's awesome. So would you say, so like, we talked about this off camera before, but just to get everyone in the loop, we talked about when you're at a big time program, like in any sport, like Nick Saban at Alabama, or Jimbo Fisher when he used to be at Bobby Bowden used to be at Florida State, or your coach at Cornell. It's like, that he was the head coach, but the system's kind of the same, right? So would you say that your culture system really changed that much, or it was kind of the same flow with just maybe a little bit different tweaks here and there?
I think the system's going to stay pretty close to the same. The one thing that is going to be different is Coach Gray and Kyle. Kyle hasn't really been a coach per se, but Kyle has a lot of say in what happens in the program, always has.
Yeah, I wonder why.
I mean, besides the fact that he's good at wrestling, he's born and raised in Lansing. He's a Cornell bled person. So he has the program's best interest at heart always. But Coach Cole was kind of like the man, and he was the man for a while. So he would take a lot of things from them, but I'd say he kind of reserve a lot of things to be like his way. So I think a few minor tweaks and maybe how we train, how we try and peak for competition might change. But for the most part, no, everything stays. You're right, though. Everything stays pretty much close knit to the same. Donnie's already been part of our program under Coach Cole. He left, for those of you who don't know, he left for a few years to NC State, but came back and returned as now our second coach. So he's a second coach in line. It's a pretty cool little setup we got.
Yeah, I just feel like when you have a program as successful as Cornell, and like I like the Nick Saban reference too, because it was like, if you take, even when they took Nick Saban out for that 1 week, they didn't change anything. The motors that I feel like when you're at that high of a level, the head coach is more of like the guiding path. He's not like the one that's like building the blocks, just like that hand on. He's like the one that oversees everything and like outlines it, and then those are the pieces that attack. And I feel like when you have a successful program like Cornell, which has been at the top of the wrestling for decades, producing national and world champions for decades, it's just like, you don't want to mess it up too much, because there's a reason it was working, and I feel like that's probably good for you guys, at least in my opinion, that he's not tweaking it too much. Now, in the aspects of recruiting, do you think recruiting is going to be completely different now there's a new face for the program?
No. If anything, I think it's going to increase from here. We have Kyle Dake, who's going to hopefully win an Olympic gold, and I believe that he will. And I see ourselves winning a national title this year. Coach Gray's
as a team,
excellent.
Just pause. You see Cornell winning NCAAs this year?
I believe so.
I could see.
Damn.
I think
I'm a big red boy. I mean, y'all already at UPenn. Those are my teams.
Yeah. But I mean, even Coach Gray is like
every day, Grayson, and I'd say me and Foca are big factors in that, because we're both two people who we could low key. I mean, I don't think it happened, but we could both lose round of 12, or we could win it. So if we win it, that's our. That's our national title right there. You have Yanni, Vito. I mean, those are almost 2 locks.
Yeah, I was going to say they're pretty damn close to being locks.
I mean, Yanni's a lock, almost for sure. And then Vito, he wants to wrestle.
You got Dars, how do you pronounce his last name?
Darmstadt.
Yeah, him too. He's got to tweak some things.
I mean,
he's on track.
If Darmstadt's head is there and injury is not a factor, and injury is always going to be a factor with him, but if his head is there and not focusing on the injuries, he's hard to beat.
For sure. What were you get back to what you were saying, Foca?
Oh wait, what was I saying about recruiting?
Recruiting.
Yeah, I mean, with Kyle in the room, all these new RTC guys, we picked up a bunch with our hopeful success this season. I feel like that's going to attract a lot of eyes our way. And like we've had very, very high recruiting classes in the past few years anyway. So I feel like the room's just going to continue to grow. I don't think it's going to make any significant change.
For those people that probably don't know, the reason why Grayson asked this question is because Coach Cole and our other coach, who also left, Gabe Dean, were the two recruiters of the team. And like, although our team speaks for itself, like they were both great recruiters in their own aspects. And Coach Cole was probably one of the best recruiters I've ever met. But I don't think that'll be too much of a problem because Coach Gray did a great job in bringing in Donnie, who honestly, I don't know much recruiters better than Donnie. Donnie was the first one who recruited me at Cornell. And honestly, he's probably one of the biggest reasons I wanted to come here. He really told me how great this program was. And when he's opened up and went to NC State, he literally texted me and said, "Hey, Julian, like I'm not going to recruit you. I think Cornell's the place for you." And he goes, "I hope everything works for you, and I hope we cross paths again." And now look at Donnie here. Fast forward 4 years, I'm still a freshman. He's going to be my coach now, which is great because I couldn't be happier with having Coach Gray, who's easily one of the best technicians in the country as far as a coach is concerned. And then you have Donnie, who's a great coach, a phenomenal recruiter. Callan, I'm pretty sure, was a recruiter for Michigan. So like we have two great recruiters there. And then Gwiz speaks for itself. It's like we have Gwiz and Kyle date, bro.
Yeah, and I feel like when you're at a school like Cornell especially, like when you have not only the prestige, it's kind of a thing where I feel like it doesn't really matter who's there or what y'all are doing, you're gonna get kids. It's too historic of a program. That education speaks for itself. Like, if you go and wrestle at Cornell, you're wrestling with the most elite kids in the country, the most elite coaches in the country, and you're getting one of the best degrees in the country. So I feel like regardless of who's there, obviously minor tweaks are going to change a couple things. Like if you have a coach from California, you might be pulling them a little bit harder. Like, obviously stuff like that's going to be different. But I feel like overall, it's really hard. It's really hard to ruin a team like Cornell. It's really hard to ruin a culture like that. So speaking on Cornell,
actually strengthened as well.
Yeah, so 100%. But let's talk about this past season. So y'all, the Ivy League didn't approve any sports to happen this at least this fall and winter. So what was that like? Being super excited, you hearing that wrestling's coming back, and then for you guys to find out you can't be a part of it, and then see these other guys some guys you've beaten, some guys that you haven't that are All-Americaning or winning NCAA titles while you just had to sit there and watch. What was that like for you? Not being able to compete during the season and attack and chase your childhood dream of being an NCAA champ.
I'll let Julian go first here.
I mean, it definitely sucked, but I saw it coming. I mean, like I was actually talking to my mom about this today. Like, I couldn't say I was surprised when our season was canceled. Like, not to get too political here, but like Ivy Leagues kind of are very, very in their own way, and they don't mind doing things differently. And I think everything that's happening in the country right now, the Ivy Leagues very much like are big supporters of that. And the fact that COVID was an issue, like they saw it to be a huge problem, way more than some people may think it is. And so it was not surprising that our season was canceled. However, yes, it sucked. Every weekend watching dual meets, watching people wrestle, like it was like, dude, like we should be there. Like we were ranked number 2 in the country to start the season. Princeton was ranked like 7. Penn was ranked like 18. Like without the Ivy Leagues, that's a whole different fucking tournament.
Oh yeah, dude. Especially with like you said, the rise of UPenn. You got some hammers at Princeton. You got the whole
Harvard,
team of Cornell. Harvard got some hammers. Yeah.
Harvard has some guys. Columbia has like one guy. Like, I mean that's.
Are you all EIWA?
Yes. So
yeah,
that's like half a conference just gone.
Well, the whole conference was gone. I mean,
yeah.
Navy and Army almost won.
That is insane to me.
Like, yeah, like not to say they're not good teams, but they're usually getting 5th. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, or they have like a couple like individual hammers that do pretty well, but they're not usually like a whole team that wins that. It's usually like you and Lehigh that run that.
and Prince,
Yeah, and Princeton.
Us, Lehigh, and Princeton.
but yeah, I mean, Binghamton's not a bad team, but like in the end of the day, like if Binghamton's taking fourth, like
No, yeah, they shouldn't be taking fourth, 100%. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that on it, Boca though? Like, what was it like going through without being able to participate?
So what I'm gonna say is that, in all honesty, it was bittersweet, and it was bitter because our season got canceled. We didn't get to wrestle an NCAA season. We lost a year, all that stuff. Well, we didn't lose a year, but we're there for another extra year. No big deal. We still have the 4, but I think it was real sweet because, on the other hand, we did get a full year of wrestling with competition that we otherwise wouldn't have got. Me and Julian, Yanni, we all got to wrestle some of the best guys in the whole country in freestyle. And this past year, we just stuck to freestyle. We wrestled freestyle through and through. I mean, I had a match set up with David Taylor, all this stuff. So, in a way, I'm real thankful to be able to have that type of a season. Honestly, it's such a young age too. But although it sucked to not have a season, it was also nice to be able to wrestle freestyle.
Yeah, to feed off that, I prefer freestyle over folk style all day. I have for years. So definitely bittersweet because as much as I'd love to win an NCAA title, freestyle is so much more fun. And like he said, like not only did we get an extra year of training, that extra year of training was with Yanni Vito, Max Dean, Gabe Dean, Josh Saunders, and
Kyle Dake.
Yeah. Like I knew I was forgetting one. And I forgot the best one.
Now, do you think so? Like always, I feel like this is always a topic talked about when it comes to international wrestling. Do you think that we should be focused? We should just stop trying to have folk style be a thing.
100%.
Yeah, because you see, especially in the younger ages, like our youth, like I'd say pre-high school, when they wrestle like internationally, they get clapped by like Russia or like Iran because those kids are just grinding freestyle, and I feel like. I honestly don't understand why we're the only country that hasn't transitioned into starting our youth just doing straight freestyle.
I mean, freestyle has definitely become more prominent in the younger ages over the last few years, but I'm way more of a freestyle fan. Don't get me wrong, but folk style does teach you to be tough. If you watch the Americans on the highest level that are winning matches, Jordan Burroughs, Kyle Dake, David Taylor, whenever they're in rubber matches or real tight matches at the end, they usually pull through because they know mentally they've been there before. They've done that. They're tough. You know, folk style is real hard.
Why does folk style instill that in them and not freestyle? And before you answer, real quick, for everyone that doesn't know, folk style is what we do in America up to, high school and college and like younger, and it's more based on like control on top. You get riding points. You can turn. You get pin points. Freestyle is more roll and back exposure points, so it's more of a faster pace. The scoreboards get run up higher, and we're the only country that I believe that doesn't do freestyle since youth.
I mean, South Africa doesn't either. But
yeah, in South Africa. But yeah, go on. Why do you think that the folk style builds the toughness and instills toughness that freestyle doesn't?
I think, although like I do think that's a true statement, Foca, but I think that has nothing to do with folk style as much as it used to. I think that was a big factor in the 70s and 80s, and it's what made us good back then. But I think that's changed a lot because I mean, like, yeah, like Kyle, DT, JB, like they're phenomenal in clutch moments. And yes, they are gonna wrestle hard all 6 minutes. But I think that has to do more with just training. Like you just named 3 of our most phenomenal wrestlers. Like Kyle Dake is arguably a better technician than most Russians. DT can ankle pick just about anybody. DT's timing is impeccable.
His body build is beautiful.
And Jordan Burroughs' explosiveness, it's unmatchable. So, like, yes, like, I think toughness does play a factor, but I think that has to do a lot with our training. I mean, Russians train differently, and it works, obviously, but there's also other reasons we beat them, you know what I mean? And I think toughness is definitely the factor we beat them, but I don't know if folk style automatically translate to that.
Yeah.
Also as a kid, like getting rid of folk style would also get rid of like tradition, like culture wrestling in America up through high school and college. Kids want to win state titles. Kids want to win NCAA titles. Like that's what a lot of kids have as their highest goal. So, I mean,
why not just make the sport freestyle and just keep the same tournaments?
It'd be really hard to transition to that.
No, yeah, you wouldn't be able to do it overnight. It would be like a 3 to 4, 5 year process of slowly transitioning.
Like, be longer than that. I think we are transitioning.
Why not, dude? Even from the aspect of someone that doesn't know wrestling and they're watching it, it is way more enjoyable to watch a freestyle match than a folk style match. Like talking about the highest level.
Yeah,
it's way more enjoyable. I don't understand. It would get our teams better, get our kids better from a younger age. Like I didn't get into freestyle till my senior year of high school. Like I can't even imagine how much better my overall wrestling would have been if I started at a younger age. You know, if there's more of an emphasis on it.
Yeah. I mean, I think we are transitioning slowly. I think it's going to take a while, a lot longer than 3-4 years, but I think we are transitioning slowly just because like the rules in folk style, and it starts at the national, the college level, they've already been changing. Like, yes, we still have riding time and all that, but out of bounds rules are starting to be a little more implemented. And that's like something in freestyle where you can get a push out, and like stalling is almost is like, and also exposure in folk style now. So like you can't be rolling on your back all day long, because if you are, you're just gonna give up a takedown.
And I remember when I was committed to Mount Union to wrestle, and I went and visited there, and we were talking to their coach. He was saying that they're even making like the college rules a little more like exposure is quicker now. You need less exposure to get back swipes now, and like he says that he thinks they're doing that to start getting us prepared for freestyle, because even the slightest exposure in freestyle, they're hitting you too. You know, they want you active. They don't want you being slow. And I feel like that's part of the small steps we're taking. But I don't know. I personally think we should start going in that direction. But I mean, you guys know more than I do. You're at a way higher level than I am. But that's just what I personally believe.
No, I probably agree that like I'd say like good 75% of like the highest level wrestlers all agree to that statement. But like a lot of them also just prefer folk style, which is a huge problem, I think, in its own factor. Like I think folk style is great. I like some of it, but I also think it's just pointless. Like our Greco, like, and not anything against our Greco team. Like I have a lot of friends in Greco. It's part of the reason why like I feel so strongly about this is our Greco team is not good. Like, yes, every now and then we have a guy who does perform really, really well at the world stage.
Yeah.
But like in D'Angelo Hancock, Robbie Smith, like there's more, but like it's just like it's kind of like annoying to just know that like, all right, yeah, you made the Greco world team now. Good luck. Because all those guys wrestle Greco all year long since they were 5 years old. You didn't wrestle folk style since you were 5 years old and started wrestling Greco when you were 12, maybe.
Exactly. Like, also, the thing is too with that, Julian, too, it's like, oh, you won Fargo and Greco. Sick. You know, you went at Fargo freestyle. Everyone's like, dude, that's awesome. You went, dude, you're there at Greco Fargo like the 2 days after. 1/4 of the people are there. 1/4 of the recruiters are there. 1/4 of the media is there. 1/4 of the participants are there. It is completely just shrugged off, which it shouldn't be, because Greco is one of the hardest forms of wrestling in the world.
Greco's hard. Yeah. All Greco guys are strong.
There's no support and love to it because it's looked at as like the third most important wrestling we do, which it shouldn't be. Shit. You know, and that's why I think another reason we should start doing this from a younger age. But speaking of publicity, what are some things you guys think we could do as a country to make wrestling more well known, make it more mainstream, more popular? Because it's the original Olympic sport, and yet they only allow 6 weight classes in the Olympics. No one in America, besides maybe Jordan Burroughs, knows who anyone in wrestling is. Like, it's I don't know what we can do, but what do you think we could do to make it more mainstream, more popular, and get guys getting contracts, getting paychecks, and making it a sport you can make a living off of, rather than right now it's just like you can only win worlds, and some of you guys still have to work a job, you know, because you're not financially stable unless you have your own clothing line, your own shoe, unless you're like a Kyle Snyder or something like that.
I think we're taking all the right steps right now between sponsorships, RTC athletes, our world team, and promoting ourselves social media wise. Like Roman Bravo Young does a very good job of marketing himself. AJ Ferrari too. But making themselves big names like collegiately. I think that NIL decision to allow college athletes to get sponsors and all that is definitely going to be big. to have them promote their name, and by wrestlers, which I believe is one of, if not the hardest sport in college wrestling. By those successful wrestlers promoting themselves, putting their name out there, I feel like it's definitely gonna make the sport more public, show people like really what it's about.
I mean, I agree with Chris a lot. I wanted him to start off because I didn't really know what to say because pretty much the same. I think we're all taking the right. I think we're taking the right directions toward it. I mean, just to like be an example, like Gable, Yanni, and Roman are all three college athletes. Spencer as well. They're 4 college athletes who all have as many, if not more, followers than Kyle Dake, David Taylor, Kyle Snyder, even. You know what I'm saying? Like the only one who has more followers is Jordan Burroughs, and like you said, like that's our most
Face,
well-known.
yeah, that's different. He's the face.
He's a face.
I mean, Yanni Diakomahalis has more Instagram followers than a few of our Olympic swimmers right now.
Yeah.
That just won gold medals, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, like, especially like, I mean, granted, it's obviously biased. It's a school, and like we're in the state of New York, but you go pretty much anywhere in New York, and like a lot of people know who Yanni is, whether it's a Greek kid or just that kid that wrestles. You know what I'm saying? And so I'd say like wrestling is definitely taking the right steps for that. There's actually probably a lot more money than a lot of people think there is in wrestling. It's starting to pop off, but the thing with wrestling is that yes, like there's a lot of money when you're number 1 or number 2, but big drop off.
Yeah.
But I think the NIL is going to be huge for that because here you have Yanni's 4, you have other kids like Roman who's probably like 8 or something. You know what I'm saying? Like they could all make a lot more money on that stage and not clear.
100%. Now, do you think that the rise of mixed martial arts in the UFC, you think that's hurt it or helped?
No,
Definitely
helped huge.
Definitely helped, especially with fighters and mixed martial arts that have a wrestling background. You see them at the highest stage performing very well. I mean, of course, you need to be all around, but anytime that there's a fighter or competitor with a wrestling background, they always take a second to explain their accolades, their upbringing, all that. So definitely.
The wrestling community in MMA is super tight. I'd say it's the tightest out of everything, you know, and that's from being a mixed martial artist myself. But like, I agree, it helps, especially when you have what you saw the statistic that was posted the other day is like 29 out of like 40 UFC champions that have a background of wrestling. You know, it showed its dominance, and they just announced the card in November is literally the main and co-main are all college wrestlers. It's Usman versus Colby, and then it's Gaethje versus Michael Chandler. That's Missouri wrestling. That's UNC. That's University of Northern Colorado wrestling. That's Oregon State wrestling. That's Nebraska Regional Training Center wrestling. You know, so it's showing the dominance of these athletes, and it's showing how impactful wrestling is to the sport. Daniel Cormier did an amazing job. Henry Cejudo did an amazing job. Even John Jones wrestled 2 years of JUCO. You know, so like it shows how. You know what? You might lack in boxing. You might lack in jiu-jitsu. You might lack in kickboxing. You might lack in these little things, but your wrestling automatically jumps you high enough that being able to control if the fight stays on the feet or go to the ground, it's so impactful. And I feel like people are starting to see that now. And you're starting to see a lot of wrestlers like Bryce Meredith, myself, Nick Piccinini, the other Yada dude from Oklahoma State. I can't remember his name.
I know you're talking about.
Yeah, but they're all transitioning now because they're realizing, we don't have this X amount of years of boxing, but we can slam you on your face for 15 minutes and win the fight.
Yeah.
Like that's got
the most flattering thing for me, this happened recently too. Say about a month and a half ago, Julian and I were down in Miami, just like driving around, taking tours around the city. And he was meeting up with some of his friends. One of them was an intern at a promoting agency. And as we were walking out, we saw Masvidal, and we were wearing Cornell wrestling stuff. And he was just talking very highly of the wrestlers. He knew Kyle Dake, he knew Yanni, and I thought that was pretty cool. He had that level of respect for them.
Yeah, same concept for me. I thought it was dope. I mean, Masvidal is not a wrestler, and honestly, like, yes, were we there waiting to talk to Masvidal? 100%. But we didn't walk up to him. He walked up to us. You know what I mean? Like, he just saw our shirts and was like, "Oh, like." This conversation would interest me. And then the second I left, I went to check like this guy's followers. For one, he has 8 million followers.
Yeah.
2, he follows 3 wrestlers in the wrestling community. That's Yanni, Kyle, and Jo. And those are, well, they're my probably 3 favorite wrestlers, biased to 2 of them because they're my teammates. But I love Jo as well. So I just thought that was really interesting that like how much he has respect for the wrestling community. And like when he was talking to us, he obviously knew what was going on.
Yeah, no, it's cool. And then like you got guys now like Joe Rogan who has the biggest platform in the world when it comes to social media and podcasts, and he's having Jordan Burroughs on, he's having Dan Gable on. So I feel like you guys said, it's definitely like guys like Masvidal 10, 15 years ago didn't even touch wrestling in their entire life. They didn't even care about it. And now it's to the point where he's became such an elite fighter. He's realized like, damn, I need wrestling, and I respect what these guys are doing. When you get hammers like you guys, Bo Nickel, all these guys that are coming in and training with them, and these fighters are realizing, wow, this kid has no MMA experience, but he's able to take me down whenever he wants. I got to fix that,
Yeah.
That's definitely something I feel like is helping wrestling get bigger as well, for sure. And I think the biggest thing to help it is Title IX ruined wrestling, man. Title IX killed wrestling. So before we get into this, what everyone doesn't know, Title IX was signed, I want to say in the late 90s, early 2000s. When was it? Earlier in the 80s?
Like early 80s, mid 80s.
Okay, so what it did is I don't know which president. I want to say it was Nixon, I think.
What?
I don't know which president it was, but one of a president they signed off saying that every college, every university in the entire country needs to have the same amount of men's sports and women's sports for equality. So what happened is any school that had like leftover teams, they just cut the wrestling. They cut the wrestling. So you saw all these teams.
It's not the same amount as teams, as amount as money going into the
money.
team.
Yeah. So it was an equality factor regardless, and it just killed wrestling, which bothers me the most because wrestling's a traditional sport. It's like I don't care your opinions on wrestling. It was the first sport ever that humans ever competed in was wrestling. Like it should be mandatory that every school has wrestling, in my opinion. Regardless if you like it or not, it's the OG sport. There would not be anything else without wrestling. They went wrestling and cross.
Big time schools like you look at Syracuse and Clemson drop their programs. Clemson,
LSU, Boise State,
LSU,
Oregon,
drop their wrestling program.
LSU had a national champ. Tennessee was always good.
Yeah.
Georgia had a good team one year. UF
had I remember talking to my high school coach Bricker, and he said they had amazing facilities. And then they were like, you know what, do it. We're just gonna make another workout room for the football team. Just tore it all up. And I think that's definitely an issue. And the problem is when regarding that issue and getting involved with it, it's too political. People hate talking about it. They want to talk about equality and all this, blah, blah, blah.
I mean, being at the level of wrestling I'm at, I talk to a lot of people about it, like a lot of coaches, a lot of athletic directors. And whenever I bring up the conversation, it's always like, just stop trying.
Yeah. It's like the only
or good luck.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you're talking to somebody who grew up from Miami. I went to Tampa. Florida's my home. In the end of the day, Florida's where I'm from, and I love Florida. But if I want to go to school somewhere close to Florida, my closest option is Citadel.
You're Chattanooga.
No, Citadel's closer. It's South Carolina.
South school.
So, and then, but like realistically, I'd probably go to like UNC. You know what I mean? I'm saying like that's.
I'd say the closest like powerhouse is probably Missouri.
UNC is closer. Yeah.
But that's still far, dude. That's really far for being close. That's 3 states away.
It's 9 hours from Tampa.
Yeah, that's crazy, bro. That's crazy. Versus guys like Foca are what, 3 hours from home, 4 hours from home?
Yeah, I'm 4 hours from home right now.
That's cake.
That's cake. I was telling Foca about this when we were driving up. Like, bro, you're a 3 hour drive away. I'm a 3 hour flight away. If something happens to my family or a friend of mine, like, I can't just like drop everything, leave for a day, and come back tomorrow.
Plan for it.
I gotta I gotta pay $500 if I want to buy a flight today.
No, and it sucks too from like the aspect of where Julian was going off of, like being from the Southeast and being from Florida. Like, there's so many guys that Julian and I know that are easily Division I caliber, but they couldn't afford to go far away, or they didn't want to leave their family, so they end up going NAIA to stay in Georgia or Florida, and it sucks. There's so many of them that were so good. And it also hurts our sport down here because, like, kids aren't like, oh, I can go to my local college and go wrestle D1. No, I got to go 3 states away, so it hurts down where they can go play football. There's 5 or 6 Division I football programs just in the state of Florida, You know what I mean? Like, it's so different. Like baseball, all of that. And it sucks, man. It really does. And I hope that, like we said, it starts getting to that. We start slowly getting that way, but I don't know. It's hard. But let's transition a little into the Olympic wrestling. So we got 5 guys wrestling. We got Thomas Gilman representing at 57 kilograms. We have no one at 65. At 74 kilograms, we got Kyle Dake. 86, we have David Taylor. 97, we have Kyle Snyder. 125 kilograms, we got Gable Stevenson. If y'all want to like break it down a little bit, tell us, some big matches we should watch out for, some upsets, who you think can do the best in our lineup, who you think should do the worst, just anything involving Olympic wrestling.
Personally, and I'll let Julian pick it up from here, but I've seen our Olympic wrestling team since probably as early as I could trace, maybe 1960. And I think this is probably our most promising wrestling team that to represent the United States in the Olympics. This is a very good team.
I would definitely agree with that. I mean, Worlds is always a huge different factor because we have 10 guys, no matter what, like 10 guys are going. And when we have 10 guys, like it's way easier for us to like actually compete at the top level because we have all our biggest hammers. When you narrow it down to 6 weight classes, now you have like not only just 6, but you have to like we only have 5.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and you're getting your ones. You're getting your ones and twos are facing each other in the same weight class now instead of spreading out to 4 weight classes, 3 to 4 weight classes. Yeah.
So, it's always easier because if somebody has a bad day, somebody doesn't wrestle well. But like I would say, this team is very promising from top to bottom. Gilman has a silver world medal. The next weight class would be Jo. But then Kyle's a 2-time world champ. He just beat a 9-time world team member. Then you have David Taylor, who, he's already a world champ. Name speaks for itself. He beat Yazdani twice. Yazdani's name speaks for itself. He's an Iranian, for those of you who don't know wrestling. And then Snyder's definitely the hardest one to say. Like he has he has a hardest contender. I mean, he's wrestling the best guy pound for pound at the moment.
From Russia, Suladev.
Yeah, Sadulayev. I think he could do it. I wouldn't say it's like not in his capabilities, but like Snyder's definitely a hardcore second. Like I couldn't see him losing to anybody else.
Oh yeah, I see those two. Like I'm not saying Snyder beats him, but I feel like those two separate themselves from everyone else in that weight class.
Yeah, I mean they've squared off in the World Finals twice. Snyder and Sadulayev both 1-1 against each other, but in this Olympics they're both returning Olympic.
Snyder beat him in the very end, breaking him, and then he whooped Snyder the second time.
Yeah,
but this Olympics they're both returning Olympic champs. In 2016. Sadulayev was the 86 champ, and in 2016, Snyder was the 97 champ.
And then Gable's actually funny because, like, in reality, Gable could go to the Olympics and go 0-1 and that'd be it, and it would suck. But like, it's possible. We don't know because he's so young. Gable's only 8 months older than me.
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, there's no what am I trying to look for? There's nothing to compare him to, there's not expected to do this because of this. Like he has no past. Like everything he does this Olympics is the beginning of his history starting.
Yeah.
He hasn't solidified anything yet. He's too young.
He's a 3-time world champion at age group divisions, but he won 2 cadet world titles. His third cadet year, he won a junior world title. Like the kid's a beast, always been a beast.
I'm not taking that away from him.
No. But like his best credentials are he's a Pan Am champ, which no offense to Pan Ams, but like we suck besides Cuba.
That's what I was trying to say. It's not like when we're talking about David Taylor, we're talking about Gilman, a world champion, world runner-up, guys that have won the U.S. Open. He hasn't done any of that yet. Not that he's not good enough. Like you say,
his best win is Gwiz.
Yeah, 100%. At the
limit. Who was a 2-time bronze medalist, a 5th placer, like.
Yeah, 100%.
Hey, all I have to say about this is that sometimes it's all it takes.
Yeah.
Sometimes because Gable's definitely a guy that you've seen over the years close the gap on these top guys, and now he's the guy. And definitely, sometimes just breaking through is all it takes. He's got the Pan Am Championship, and that might not be much, but you see these Russian guys that don't really have much, but once they break the ice, they'll win worlds. You know.
But now that I've been saying all these things about how like it's very possible Gable loses and goes 0-1, my actual opinion is Gable's going to win. I don't think Gable's losing, and
Absolutely.
I think he's super athletic. He's technical.
Freak for that size. He's a freak athlete for his size.
Like he's probably going to go WWE, but the man could go the NFL route and do phenomenal.
UFC or UFC with cake.
Yeah, he can do anything, and that's why Gable has such a huge following, because the amount of football players, WWE fans that follow him, like it's
fans, like everyone,
like
his the kid has the utmost potential in the world.
So much potential.
And backing off what Foca said, there's two ways, in my opinion, this goes. When you get a guy like Gable, he has no past accomplishments or tournaments or matches where he can be like, all right, I know how this guy does. So he's either going to come in fresh-minded thinking like he has no fear yet. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have fear yet. So he's going to go in there and run. Or the not having fear is going to make him have more fear. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I know Gable, though, and Gable's probably one of the most confident people I've ever met.
That's very good. And I'm not saying I want him to win. I want all of the Americans to win. I'm just saying when you get a scenario like this with someone for their first time on a big stage and they have no past fear experience, they either go in with the utmost confidence because they have no fear, or they go in with extra fear because they have no fear. So that's going to be interesting to see. I believe he's going to be fine. You know, I think he's going to be calm, cool, collected. That we don't know. We really don't know until it happens.
But I think another big thing for him is he's hanging out with Kyle, with David Taylor, with Gilman all week. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, longer than that, probably months, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, at this point, yeah, they've been on and they have camps for 2 weeks going on every month. So 2 weeks for the last 2 months, they've seen each other. And then now they've been in Japan doing absolutely nothing, twiddling their fingers, going to practice together, probably talking about how exciting it's going to be when they all win world.
Now let's break your all brains open a little, right? So what are the 3 biggest men's freestyle matches that you are anticipating that you hope happens, and what do you think?
We probably have at least 2 of the same.
So first, I'm going to go number one. Number one's got to be Snyder Solidev or whatever his name is.
My number 1 is Kyle Dake versus Zarbek Sidakov.
Yep.
He's from
Russia.
What's his credentials? What's he looking like?
2-time world champion. He beat Chamizo and Jordan Burroughs at the last 2 world championships. He's more clutch than Jordan Burroughs. I mean, he literally out-clutched Jordan Burroughs in both matches.
Now, are him and Dake in the same side of the bracket?
We don't know yet.
Bracket hasn't been drawn yet.
Maybe even drawn.
Oh,
If they're smart, they're going to separate them.
Chamizo's the 1 seed. No, Sidakov is a 3. So I think it's a better chance that Kyle. I mean, this is just my guess. It could literally go anywhere, but I think Kyle's going to see him second round.
Second round.
Because I don't think they're going to give it to him first round, because that would just be a total slap in the face.
It'd kill the
hype.
hype.
It was announced 2 months ago that Kyle's going into the Olympics unseeded.
Well, everyone's unseeded except Kyle Snyder. We have no seeds. Gable has nothing. Gilman hasn't competed.
David Taylor's arguably the number 1 in the entire world in his weight class. Kyle Dake beat arguably the 1 or 2 guy, Jordan Burroughs.
No, but you see what happened was the World Championship last year was in Kazakhstan. Guess who didn't go to Worlds?
America.
Mm-hmm.
So that definitely hurt us, and they're probably kind of like F you.
No, that's all it is. And then there's also like rankings tournaments, and Chamizo goes to every freaking ranking tournament in the world. Yeah, so Chamizo always gets 1 seed.
What is Snyder, 2?
Snyder's 2.
At least he's separate.
David Taylor has nothing. Gilman has nothing.
Insane, bro. So we could see, like, realistically, this tournament, we could see Olympic final quality matches in the opening and second round.
You could see a Yazdani Taylor quarterfinal match.
Well, we don't even have to go that far. Freaking, there's some literal tool created a UWW fake account. Literally looked like UWW. Posted 4 brackets. It was Gilman's, Kyle's, DT's, and someone else's, and said, "Wow, look at the brackets for this." And
I saw that the other day on Instagram, like a week ago.
Everyone thought it was real. Like, and I thought it was real at first too. I mean, you had Kyle and Sidakov first round, Yazdani, David Taylor first round. Gilman had Ugaev, which is a 2 seed, and then next round he had this guy who should be the 3 seed.
That's crazy.
A Japanese dude. Like it's literally like, oh my god. Like we thought we were screwed.
So you say that that Dake Russian dude's your number 1 match. All right, what would you say is your number 2?
Hassan Yazdani and David Taylor.
That's my number 2.
All right, break that down for us.
So,
Hassan Yazdani, 2016 Olympic champ at 74 kilos. Was he?
Yeah,
74?
Yeah.
He moved up, won a world title in 18. 17, he was too small, still adjusting to the weight. Then moved up again, squared off with Taylor in the World Cup in 2017, I think. Yeah, 2017, squared up with David Taylor. David Taylor's just got to the world team that year. He beats Yazdani, actually pins him in the Team Iran versus Team USA match.
He was losing and came back,
gassed him out, pinned him. And remember, he's a returning Olympic champ. The next year in the world quarterfinals, Taylor and Yazdani wrestle again. Taylor beats him, I want to say like by 5, maybe 5 or 6.
It was dominant, but I think he
very, very tight first period. Taylor pulled away in the second, but David Taylor himself, 2019, did not compete at Worlds. I believe Yazdani won that year. So you got Yazdani, Olympic champ, maybe 2-time world champ on top of that, versus 1-time world champ David Taylor, who's 2-0 against him, unseeded. This match could be early, it could be late, depending on where David Taylor's drawn in the bracket, but definitely always a war between them. Looking forward to that.
All right, so what's our number 3 looking like?
This one will probably have a different one.
You go first.
I mean, I have 2 in mind that I like. I would say I'm gonna stay with this one first, and I'm just gonna say this because it's literally like it for everybody. Is 65 kilo, anybody could win. It's anybody's tournament.
Yeah.
Who's our representative there?
Jordan Oliver.
Yeah.
Yep. So, we don't have anybody, but I mean, 65. It could be Rashidov. It could be Bajram. It could be Odaguru. It could be Musakaev. I mean, I don't think Musakaev would beat everybody in that weight class, but he could. You know what I'm saying?
Get a good draw maybe too.
Yeah, he gets a good draw. And then there's also Aliyev, he doesn't have a seed. He could have a terrible draw, but dude, the guy's a world champ.
At that level, man, you could just have the greatest day of your life and win an Olympic gold.
Exactly. So it's like it's anyone's game at 65.
Yeah, I heard
also Kinchigashvili, I think, also is in it too, right, Julian?
Yeah, so that weight class is stacked. But I'd say as far as an actual match is concerned, I'm gonna have to go Kyle Dake Chamizo.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I rather watch Sidakov because one, I think the style matchup's more interesting. I think Kyle's style works really well for Sidakov. And 2, it's a very anticipated match. It's just like they haven't wrestled and they're easily it's them 3 in the weight. After that, huge drop off. I mean, me and my friends are doing a little betting draft for we have a 6-guy team. And after we picked Chamizo, Sidakov, and Kyle, no one wanted to pick 74 because we're like, all right, who's going to take the other bronze medal?
Yeah.
So at that point, it's just we don't know.
Well,
I'm going to say them too.
I don't know how true this is, but I remember reading and hearing stories about Henry Cejudo. And before, obviously, he was extremely young when he competed in the Olympics. But I heard stories of him just getting destroyed in the room leading up to it, just getting absolutely.
Well, also, yeah, I mean, he was young too.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to back off what I stated earlier. So, I heard of him just getting mopped, him thinking that he was going to just go out there and get destroyed. And then the day of when it was time to turn on, he just had the best tournament of his entire life, and he won Olympic gold. And you see it the other way around too. You see guys that are just the absolute best, but sometimes that's just not your day. And I feel like that when it comes, it's really hard in this sport to pick a certain person as a lock because one person can just have the greatest day of their life and become an Olympic champion, you know?
The hardest lock right now for the whole tournament is Such Alive.
Yeah, yeah. And then I'd say David Taylor's probably number 2. You wouldn't think so?
David Taylor or Kyle Day.
Nah, I don't even think either of them two. No.
Really?
I'm probably going down all the way to 57 kilo. And he's a 2 seed, but I'm going to go with Yegov. He's the Russian. He's probably the second best lock, and he's not even a lock because, I mean, Atlee is the 3 seed, I believe, and Atlee is the second. I think Atlee could win it. So, like, and then after that, I would go Kyle or David. I would go David Taylor, then probably Kyle. But none of those are locks. The only lock is Sajulad. Like, the only lock that if I had to put all my money's worth and I'd just put it down, I'd be like, yep, Sajulad is probably going to win.
Yeah.
Because, like, now I would probably go with Kyle second just because I'm biased, though.
Yeah, I remember I watched an interview with Kyle the other day where he was saying, as you guys know, Kyle is like a nerd about wrestling. The man's a genius. You know, he breaks it in and out. Mm-hmm. He knows degree from Cornell. Like the man's a genius. But one thing he brought up that I thought was extremely interesting that I never thought about is a lot of the wrestlers, a lot of our boxers, all of our combat athletes they're extra excited to compete in Japan because combat sports is so appreciated there. You know, so they're saying that it's a lot more. It means more to them to compete in Japan, knowing that there's more love and more appreciation for what they're doing there. So I feel like that also could draw people to performing better on this platform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that could mean Japan has a great tournament.
Julian. Plot twist. My biggest lock, Mihain Lopez.
Oh, but that's Greco. Yeah.
No, I know. But I'm just saying. I really hope he does it.
No, I mean, there's a Cuban who he's going for his 4th Olympic title, which no one has done.
That was his 5th, isn't it?
No, 4th.
That's insane.
Bro, he has to be like 40. He's got to be close to 40, like 36, almost 40.
Yeah, he's old. Apparently, like, bro, he doesn't even he'll wrestle like 3 days out of the week. Like, he's just so good. He's so good. But I mean, it's crazy because like he is good, like to the point where Cuba pays him a lot of money.
Yeah, but that happens in a lot of other countries too, like in Russia and stuff. Like they get compensated and they get like appreciated.
Well, Russia wrestling, like you get appreciated no matter what. But Cuba, like, I mean, I'd say Mihain's probably top 100 richest people in Cuba, and that includes the government. So when you take out the government, he's probably like top 30. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you know, our hearts and prayers go out to Cuba. You know, Julian's Cuban, I'm Cuban. So, you know, a lot of stuff going on out there. So we hope the best for their athletes, and they can hope, you know, use that platform to help their country out a lot. Just a lot of sad stuff going on out there, regardless if you know about it or not. You know, it's messed up. But yeah, I want to thank you guys for coming on today. I know you guys are very busy, and this might have gone into your time a little. But real quick, just when do we start wrestling so everyone can know and make sure to get their eyeballs out there?
November 18th at Ithaca, New York. Cornell versus Stanford.
Oh, no way!
Is it 19? I think. Is it
18th? November 18th.
No way! That is
Friedman Wrestling Center or Bartels Arena. Cornell versus Stanford.
And I'm probably wrestling the returning national champion.
Fans allowed?
Yeah,
fans allowed.
If we wrestle, fans are allowed.
I'm there. I'm there. What?
I mean, your boy's probably gonna wrestle the returning national champ, so you better damn be there.
Well, you're looking at the 2 people. Grayson, you're looking at the 2 people that are gonna wrestle him. If he's not wrestling Julian, he's wrestling me.
Yeah, but you guys, that needs to be on ESPN. Like, your coach just left, joined Stanford.
I think it might be.
Now y'all are battling them first match.
I think it might be on ESPN actually.
That is extremely hype. Like, you guys should. I'd be like not able to move. I'm so excited for that.
I mean, honestly,
I'm really excited.
That's a statement. If y'all go out there and whack Stanford and your old coach that just left y'all, that's
no, we're gonna whack Stanford.
That's a statement.
Because it's either gonna be, and I hope they hear this too. Like, Shane's their only chance of winning.
What about Real Woods? What is the name?
I think granted, if all things go their way, they could have a few wins, maybe, but like I really don't see it happening.
That is going to be.
I mean, Real would have Yanni.
Shane's their best guy, and
Shane would have either Julian or me.
Jaden Abbas would have either Yanni or Colton Yapujan.
Who has Vito?
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it really doesn't. But yeah, thank you guys. Wrestling starts. Freestyle wrestling starts Tuesday at 10 p.m. Qualification round.
Yep. 10 p.m. Eastern.
10 p.m. Eastern. Olympic wrestling freestyle, guys. Check it out. Thank you guys.
It's gonna be every day, 10 p.m. and 5:15 a.m. Those are the start times. So.
Woo.
Yep. All right. Thanks for having me, Grayson. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hopefully I see you soon.